For those who think Land Rover has dropped the ball with the most recent Defender, soon you'll have the choice of this, INEOS Grenadier. Now this really feels like an off-roader that has been designed, developed and engineered, well, to right all the wrongs the recent Defender makes. That's why this is on a ladder frame chassis. Yes, a rugged ladder frame chassis. So that explains why this car also has things like a high and low transfer case. It's got a solid beam front axle. It's got 3 differentials. It's got the front differential, centre differential and a rear differential, all made by a tractor maker. This is almost impossible to get stuck when you go off-road. Other things to know about this one is INEOS has been, well, pretty clever really. They haven't tried to make their own engine and gearbox from scratch. In fact, they've teamed up with BMW. So under there is the B57 3-litre inline 6-cylinder petrol or the B58 3-litre inline 6-cylinder diesel. I might have got that the wrong way around, sue me. The other thing is it's combined with a 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, and both engines should offer plenty of power and some decent refinement. So this is a late stage prototype. So this actually was built in Magna's factory in Austria, and the production will eventually begin in Smartsoul factory in France. Now, Magna is an important name to remember because they are the engineering partner with INEOS. So a lot of the stuff in here is tried and tested, included the all-wheel drive, which is kind of reassuring when you're buying a brand that you've never heard of before. So late stage prototype, so it's not quite finished. It's a bit shonky in some areas, but there's some really nice details. It's got these sort of weird mountain area for God knows what, but if you go off-road, you'll understand and love it. And it's got this sort of pop-up roof rail as well. Is it pop-up? Yeah, it's pop-up. It might not be pop-up. It's a roof rail. You can tether stuff to it if you want to. We'll have a look into the interior later because that's quite important. But at the back of the car, it's got these nifty little door here. I told you it's a bit shonky. Anyway, yeah, it's got acres and acres of space in there. And we think it should have a payload of around a ton. Excitingly, for Australia, there's also going to be a pickup truck. But as we said earlier, important thing about this wagon and the pickup is this thing should be near unbeatable off-road. It's got incredible ground clearance. It really towers other road vehicles. But anyway, let's have a look inside. So here we are in the cabin. So this is what's been revealed today. It's why I'm here. And it's an interesting place to be. I spoke about some of the collaborations earlier. I said that INEOS has worked with people like BMW for the engines, ZF for the transmissions, and a tractor maker for the diffs. Now, in the cabin, it's also worked with Recaro, and it explains why these seats are really, really comfortable and supported from the off, which is a little thing, but some car makers just don't get it right. The next thing I have to point out is, while other car makers are cutting down a number of buttons and things to play with in the cabin, I mean, INEOS has gone the opposite way because there's not only loads of buttons here, but there's loads and loads of buttons on the top here. And it's quite funny because you can adjust things like the differential lock up here, off-road modes. So every time you go and select, you go off-road and yeah, you're giving the guy behind the finger. But there's a reason for it. There's actually a very good reason for it. And it's because when they're developing this car, it's obviously going to be operated, it's going to be driven, and it's going to work hard for its living. And some of them aren't most inhospitable climates, and some of those will be snowy where you'll be wearing big gloves. So you'll come in here and yeah, you can stab around in the interior and make everything work without having to go into silly sub-menus on this touchscreen. Now, speaking about the touchscreen, I mean, this is really designated. This is for the infotainment system, and it's down here where it's all the goodies for making sure you don't get stuck. So here we have this stubby lever here, which is the high and low ratio gearbox. We've got the BMW, which looks a bit strange here, doesn't it? BMW gear selector. And we've also got a rotary dial here for those people who don't want to get marks on the screen. So yeah, old men will love this car. Now, other things to have a look about this interior, which I think is quite interesting, is there's a strange mix of materials, and there will be a leather option. But what is strange in this particular car, and you'll have to have a look with a nice close-up, is it has this strange sort of leather-wrapped steering wheel, and look, there's a proper handbrake. Now, you've got to rejoice at that. Anyway, back to the steering wheel. It's got this leather wrapped around, and it's actually made of saddle leather. So it's kind of designed to age with the car, which I kind of think is quite endearing. So it's going to change and get a bit ragged, and it's going to get softer with that. I don't know. Do we like this? I think I like it. It's different. Other things to point out is there is actually a Speedo in front of the steering wheel, slimline Speedo. So originally I thought it was there, but no, that's good. It does not get a heads-up display unit, which is a bit of a missed opportunity because they're quite useful. It will come with AEB, but it won't come with semi-autonomous cruise control. So it means you yuppies who like to sit in a highway drinking your cappuccino, hands-free, reading your newspaper, you won't be able to do that with this car. This has been designed to work for a living. Some other cool stuff is this car has carpets, but as standard it will come with rubber mats. And yes, like the old Landies, you can take the rubber mats out and hose it down in here. I mean, this is being built to work for people who, yeah, get the cabin pretty nasty and dirty.